Recognizing a trauma bond. It's an intense, unhealthy emotional attachment that a victim develops towards their abuser that is rooted in a cyclical pattern of abuse, manipulation, and power imbalances, which are occasionally intermixed with brief periods of affection, remorse, or love bombing. The psychological trap of a trauma bond is largely driven by intermittent reinforcement when the abuser follows a period of mistreatment with intense kindness and remorse. The victim brain experiences a rush of relief and bonding hormone like oxytocin and dopamine that creates a powerful emotional roller coaster that makes leaving the relationship feel incredibly difficult because of that high they get. Some defend the abuser by minimizing or making excuses for the harmful behavior when challenged by friends or family, while others experience extreme highs of affection, followed by severe emotional devaluation. And yet, some find themselves constantly walking on eggshells, monitoring their own behavior to avoid setting off the abuser. While it is true, some feel like their self esteem, happiness, or very identity is tied to the abuser's validation. To break this toxic cycle, a strict boundary is needed to prevent the abuser from pulling you back in. Reach out to trusted family and friends to reduce the isolation caused by the abuser. Most importantly, turn to the Most High for healing of your mind, body, and soul, to forgive yourself, to learn the lessons, allow the guidance, to be aware of the traps laid by the enemy. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 24 and 25 says, "Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with one easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared." So basically, we probably all had some type of trauma bond. And what I mean by that, even with friends, like I recognize the trauma bond with my friends, like with one of mine, I was having issues with my mom and her addictions, and my friend had the same issue. That's a trauma bond. That's what we related on in our friendship. So that's a trauma bond. That's how we bonded. We didn't bond it any other positive way. That was a negative bond. And as time went on, I tried to encourage her. None of that worked. But I kept it moving. I kept going. I didn't allow like my friends to try to hinder me in any way. But at the same time, I did allow them to slow me down on my journey. But I didn't allow them to hinder me. And then I overlooked all of the funny looks when I get my accomplishments. I did, but I cheered them on when they won, and that's the crazy part. But at the same time, my awareness kicked into play and I walked away. My thing was, that was my friendship of like 23 years. But I come to terms that we outgrew each other, and that's fine. And it's fine to walk away. And even in my last relationship with my boyfriend, the only thing that I could say that we related was sex. I'm not gonna lie, was sex. And then that's how we bonded. You know what I'm saying? So that's a negative way. And then at the same time, I noticed that he was using sex as a weapon against me whenever he got mad or whatever. But whenever he was ready, you know what I'm saying? He got what he wanted, but when I was ready, he didn't. So it just didn't make sense. And like I explained to him, I'm more than just sex. And that's why I left it at and I walked away, because I know I am more than just sex. So, anyways, I just wanted to tell you that, like, you got to evaluate all of your relationships around you. Like, even with my cousin, me and her had a relationship, you know, even with family, you know, I allowed them to trauma dump on me. But when I needed them, nobody was available. God showed me. So now I have my boundaries in place. And it's okay. It's okay. Now I got my boundaries in place. I got my peace. I am not disturbed. Because why? I have rules. I'm not allowing myself to, be a punching bag for no one. Energetically. You know what I'm saying? Or physically. But I ain't never had a problem with a man physically because I fought back. And I tell him before I even go in a relationship, just let him know. Tell him the truth. Like, I already know I got a warrior spirit. Because I see many women, be in abusive relationships, looking like raccoons and stuff with those black eyes. Like, that is crazy. Like, you continue to get a black eye in the same place, it will stay permanently that color. But I can't, only thing I can do is just pay attention because I know what my strength is. And I lived in my masculine more than I lived in my feminine energy coming from Illinois, because I had to stay ready I ain't had to get ready. I stayed ready. You know what I'm saying? So I lived in that survival mode like that as a female. So now I know how to balance my feminine side and my masculine side. Because my masculine side, shit, I'm a hustler. I go to work. I do what I need to do for myself. I don't rely on no one. But my feminine side, I have to learn to rest in that to be able to be open to receive, because I'm not used to receiving things from people. So that's what I'm working on now, is my feminine aspect of myself, due to the fact that I got it for myself. I got it out the mud, like, for real. And and it intimidates some men, but at the same time, it is what it is to me. But I know I have to balance my feminine and my masculine aspect of my energies. Basically, my yin and my yang, But I'm working on my feminine. I'm resting in my feminine now. Yep. I'm getting my rest like I needed to. I was living off of like probably 4 to 6 hours a day, or probably 4 really, and that wasn't good. It didn't even give my body enough to repair itself, So I understand the importance of rest. But most definitely, yeah, just pay attention to that trauma bond thing, Like with me, my rule with a man is, dude, if you constantly leaving and days later, weeks later, you think you coming back to dust me off a shelf and play with me and put me back on I'm not one of those. You just have to recognize the pattern, because men play games, okay? Women play games as well. But for me as a female, I paid attention. Check the pattern. Check the consistency. Listen to what he say and what he don't say. You will know. But I'm just glad that I don't make excuses for no one, and I'm not making excuses for myself, because why? I know better, and I'm gonna do better. Ashe.